So, now my character build. Well, this one's pretty straightforward, as I said. Do a pistol, physical skills for the utility, and the staff as the secondary weapon. Now, the build itself is pretty simple as it is. Critical strikes, trickery, and Daredevil are the trait lines, and equipment is honestly I'm not that sure, not that banal about it. The rune you can go with whatever you want. I personally went with Rune of the Scholar because it gives me the extra power and extra damage when I'm at full health. And again, this is a fragile build, so if you're not at full health, you're pretty much gonna die anyways. The Marauder Amulet for giving the perfect amount, giving the same the amount you'd want of power, precision, vitality, and ferocity. Because even if you're glassy as shit, you need a bit of health to keep you alive. Two pistol staffs. The sigils, one for the pistol is a sigil for fire and the sigil of blood, which does a just decent amount of damage and steals a decent amount of health when required. And the cooldown for both of these are very small, 5 seconds apiece, so they stack on top of each other. The staff for the sigil of energy to give me the endurance to be able to dodge again, and the sigil of intelligence to make sure that attacks I do with my staff have maximum critical damage. Because some the staff skills themselves have some very good damage, very high damage for the teeth, especially the vault skill and the basic damage combo, the third attack to be precise in the damage combo, punishing strikes. So let's go to talking about the traits now. The traits for critical strikes, you get Keen Observer, which gives you a critical chance increase when your health is high, when your health is above the threshold. Unrelenting Strikes, which gives you Fury when you strike an enemy below 90% health, which is pretty easy to get. And Ferocious Strikes, which again increases your damage by 10% when you're fighting against foes that have above 50% health. All of these are very good minor trait lines, and for the major traits I picked up them. Side Strike, not very useful in PvP because you're fighting against a player, they usually have the omnidirectional view and you will be facing you, so it's not as useful. Signets of Power, again, completely useless since I don't use signets. Flawless Strike is useful because it gives you the critical damage increase at the beginning when you're fighting the target, when you're enemy. So take every bit you can. Ankle Shots, again, very useful because the pistol does more damage and cripples any enemy you hit with it, so the enemy can close on you because he's slowed down. Practice Tolerance, not very useful because again you have a lot of ferocity and precision. And Sundering Strike is also pretty useless because vulnerable will get. Again, this one's also useful, but I just find stopping them better, and it has the extra damage you need. And out of the three of these, no quarter, hidden killer, and invigorated precision. You can either pick invigorated precision is pretty useful because every single critical hit's gonna heal you, and you have very low survivability as this. So take every bit you can get. No quarter would also be useful, but it's not particularly my style. Hidden killer is completely useless because again this build has no stealth, unfortunately. Second in line, trickery, and the main reason we need trickery is for the initiative boost and the fact that the other one I'll tell you as it is. So firstly, you get Kleptomaniac, which stealing gives you initiative, so you can recharge your skills faster if you steal. Preparedness, which increases maximum initiative by 3, which is one of the most important ones you can get. And lead attacks, which is one of the more important skills because it makes sure you have your steel recharging faster and you get a 15% boost to your damage and condition damage. So, our main ones. Haste, not very useful because you probably have Fury for most of the time you're fighting anyways, and quickness, while useful, isn't that much. Thrill of the Crime, again, this is a very great skill to use in raids and PvE when you're fighting with team. But again, this my build is mainly based on solo playing, so it's kind of useless for me. Caltrops. That this one is a pretty awesome one because whenever you dodge, you'll drop Caltrops where you were, so your enemies will get crippled and bleed while you'll be able to make your escape. Bountiful Theft. Again, this is a great one to use because it rips the boons off your target. So if your target is filled with say 25 stacks of might, fury, retaliation, stability, when you steal from them, you're at least getting at least you're debuffing 3 of them out of there. And plus you also give them to your nearby allies if you have any at that moment. So it's a very useful one to go with. Trickster again is kind of useless since you don't use tricks. Pressure striking also kind of useless because I only have one proper interrupt skill. Quick pockets is pretty useful because I do switch from. You're gonna need to switch to the staff if you're forced into close combat to use the staff to get away. And sleight of hand again, it's pretty useful but not as useful as quick pocket for me. And bewildering ambush also a pretty useful skill but not particularly to my taste because I won't be stealing much. Okay, now the main deal about this is the Daredevil trait line, which allows the pistol build to be so viable. First of all, you get physical supremacy, so you get that third dodge bar right here, so you can dodge 3 times in a row. 1, 2, 3.
Wilting. Need more endurance.
So that's one of the useful things you start with as a minor trait, nonetheless. Second, it's driven fortitude. Again, it heals you when you evade an attack, which is pretty often if you're gonna need to, because you're gonna need to make sure you're at range against your enemies. And endurance thief. Again, you gain a full bar of endurance when you steal from an enemy, which is great. It's of great use, as you can see. If you steal, I instantly get a bar back. That also is a very useful skill. Other than that, you're looking at Brawler's Tenacity, which gives you a physical skill recharges are reduced, and since I use all of them as physical skills, it even reduces the one on your heal skill. And plus it helps you regain endurance, which you're gonna need to use a lot to dodge. The very point of this build is to make sure you have the range so you can attack them while your enemy can't attack you. Weakening strikes would also be a useful one to go with, but again, not personally my choice. It is a good one to go with though.
Steady.
Havoc Mastery again increases the damage dealt to enemies within the range threshold, which is completely useless since you're gonna try to stay at a range of 900, around 800 to 900, and this one just won't be in effect most of the time. Again, if you're not gonna use physical skills and will use tricks like Shadow Refuge and shit, Weakening Strikes would be better than Brawler's Tenacity. Second one would be the Staff Master, Escapist Absolution, and Pulmonary Impact. Okay, first of all, Pulmonary Impact is actually the second part of the Fist Flurry from Palm Strike, to be exact. Palm Strike ability, so I already have access to it, so it's not that useful for me. But again, this is very useful when you're basically it's great for, it will only activate when an enemy interrupts you, say when you're trying to pull off a move, which isn't gonna be that often. Escapist Absolution removes a condition every time you dodge. Of course, considering it's PvP, in some cases you probably dodge 4 or 5 attacks at the same time, so you remove 4 or 5 conditions, which is very useful. But another one you could use is Staff Master, which isn't, I don't use the staff much, but if you're like a fan of being in close combat with the staff, you use this and it will allow you to do more damage and to regain endurance faster, which allows you to dodge faster here. And the last one here, the one that really allows you to fight in PvP using this build is the dash. Your dodge ability gets replaced by a dash, which covers a lot more distance but still helps you evade attacks. And once you're done evading, you also get the unhindered combatant buff, which makes sure that you can damage reduced damage to you is reduced by 10%. The real reason for this you can use is the fact that every time you use this you get swiftness, which allows you to run away faster, and the fact that the dodge itself covers at least 450 distance. This is the one that really makes this build completely viable. Is that you can now keep your distance from your enemy while spamming them with pistols all day all night, and they're just gonna try to catch up to you. Low restraining and bound aren't useful for that reason alone, because bound is something you'd use to get into a fight rather than out of it, and low restraining, while does do torment, bleeding, triple, all of which are good conditions to go with, you have impairing daggers which deal poison, slow, and immobilize, which are just as good, to be honest. Now to show you why this build is so
Out of
overpowered,
endurance.
is not exactly overpowered. This build is just basically broken. As you can see, my target is a golem, right? Again, my base damage is pretty high, but if I just go with unload, which is one of the strongest skills the team has, they just die too quickly to be a bother. At the very least, you can unload 3 times in a row with 13 initiative and the boost you get from the trickery line. So if you have a target golem heavy, which acts as a very good health, how do I say this? It acts as a good indicator for someone with a high defense, high armor, and high health rating. This is what you're looking at on how long he's gonna survive. Second burst, third burst, and he's already at critical hit. At the end of it, just finish him off with a sword. Just like this. It's just that easy to kill them off at that point. Again, a couple of other skills you can use is Staff Mastery's burst. The basic staff hit combos also do a huge amount of damage. Number 3 from the staffs allows you to widen up the distance if you need to, and number 4 allows you to blind your enemy. Again, the point is to keep a good distance away from your enemy, but if you're forced into close combat, your physical skills and this one and bandage defense, which allows you to block, but Fist of Flurry and Palm Strike and Impact Strike do huge damage. And now Impact Strike also has a secondary effect that's really useful as a thief, is that the first hit in the combo interrupts your foe. The second hit in the combo knocks him down, and the third hit of the combo does the most damage. The thing about the third hit of the combo, finishing blow, is the fact if your enemy is already downed, it also duplicates as a finisher, and it activates a lot faster than regularly pressing F does. So if your enemy is down and you really need to end him fast, just use the Impact Strike. Because first of all, you're dealing the damage. You're gonna daze him for 2 seconds, so he can't do anything in the down state, which is useful against warriors and necromancers that have the fear. Warrior necromancers and guardians, which have vengeance, fear, and that interrupt they have, and the knockdown interrupt they have. You can completely avoid them, stop them from activating it. The second attack does the uppercut, which does the most damage out of it and launches the enemy. So again, he's interrupted again. And finishing blow, which as you can read deals a downward strike on your foe. Down enemies struck with this ability are finished. So in the heat of the battle, if you're like stuck with players that need reviving all around you and one down enemy, you know what to spam to kill him. Again, another thing is this build itself has this ability that all the physical skills are gonna recharge your endurance. So whenever you're low on endurance, just spam your physical skills, especially the healing. They'll replenish your endurance and allow you to dodge away again. So that's a good habit to pick up. Again, this build is utterly broken, unbalanced. You must always engage your enemies at range, and if possible avoid rangers because they have a better range than you do. That's all about this build. Thank you. Bye.